From squirrels running on the field during an NFL football game to wild rabbits running on the track during a qualifying session at the Italian Grand Prix, animals have a long history of stealing the show at sporting events. But what's the payoff for these furry stars? In this video, we'll look at some of the most high-stakes animal appearances in sports and see just how much they can win or lose. First up, Sri Lanka's Mubarak and India's Sharma watch as a monkey runs past the middle of the ground during the third day of their first Test cricket match in Gale. Sri Lanka's Mubarak and India's Sharma were watching a cricket match when a monkey ran past them in the middle of the ground. Both players were startled by the monkey, and Sharma even laughed at the situation. The players went back to watching the cricket match, but the monkey continued to run around and steal the show. This was an amusing situation that many spectators enjoyed, and it made for a memorable cricket match. Next up, an alligator approached the 18th-hole water edge during the third round of the Zurich Classic Golf Tournament at TPC Louisiana. An alligator captured the attention of spectators at the Zurich Classic Golf Tournament at TPC Louisiana when it wandered close to the 18th hole. The alligator appeared to be enjoying its stay at the golf course, swimming in the water and sunning itself on the banks. The alligator's presence disrupted play on the course as players were forced to delay their shots. At the same time, they waited for the alligator to move. It is unclear whether the alligator was a golf fan, but it certainly stole the show at this sporting event. Next, a southern lopping bird flies past goalkeeper Vampestrini of Argentina's Arsenal Sarandi during their Copa Libertadores soccer match against Brazil's São Paulo in São Paulo. When looking at sporting events, it's not always the athletes who steal the show. In some cases, it's the animals that are present. For example, a southern lopping bird flew past goalkeeper Vampestrini of Argentina's Arsenal Sarandi during their Copa Libertadores soccer match against Brazil's São Paulo. This caused quite a distraction and resulted in the goal being scored on them. A squirrel runs on the field during the NFL football game between the Chicago Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Wembley Stadium in London. A squirrel runs on the field during the NFL football game between the Chicago Bears and Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Wembley Stadium in London. This was not just a random squirrel running across the field, but one that was strategically placed. The squirrel ran onto the field and managed to delay the game for a few minutes. This gave the Buccaneers enough time to regroup and ultimately won the game. A wild rabbit runs on the track during the qualifying session for the Italian Grand Prix at the Mugello circuit. A wild rabbit at the Italian Grand Prix caused a stir when it ran onto the track during the qualifying session. The rabbit darting around the track brought out the safety car and caused a brief delay in the session. After racing officials safely removed the rabbit from the track, the qualifying session resumed. While it may have been a brief interruption, it was certainly an unusual sight for those attending the race. Meanwhile, FC Then's goalkeeper Fevre shows the way out to a marten which was running on the pitch during the Swiss Super League soccer match against FC Zurich in Thun. In what may have been one of the most bizarre sporting events in history, a marten managed to run onto the pitch during a soccer game in Switzerland. The furry creature caused a bit of a commotion as players and spectators tried to get out of its way. Fortunately, the goalie for FC Thun was able to show the marten the way out of the stadium, preventing further disruption to the game. Furthermore, a black cat runs onto the pitch next to Toronto FC's goalkeeper Freddie Hall during their CONCACAF Champions League soccer match against Santos Laguna in Toronto. A black cat caused a stir at a soccer match in Toronto when it ran onto the field and disrupted play. The cat, which appeared to be unconcerned by the large crowd or the bright lights, calmly strolled around the pitch before disappearing under the stands. The incident occurred during a CONCACAF Champions League match between Toronto FC and Santos Laguna. Toronto's goalkeeper Freddie Hall was forced to take evasive action to avoid the cat, briefly bringing play to a halt. After a brief search, the cat was safely removed from the stadium and returned to its owner. The incident caused many fans to believe that the cat was bringing good luck to Toronto FC, as the team went on to win the match 3-2. Whatever the reason for its appearance, the black cat made for an unexpected and entertaining addition to the game. Next, a fox runs across the pitch at the start of the Six Nations Rugby Union match between England and Scotland in London. The Six Nations Rugby Union match between England and Scotland was disrupted today when a fox ran onto the pitch at Twickenham Stadium in London. The game had only just begun when the fox appeared, causing consternation among the players and crowd alike. However, the fox seemed unfazed by all the commotion. He calmly made his way across the pitch before disappearing into the stands. It is not yet known how the fox managed to get into the stadium, but it certainly made for an unusual start to the match. Thankfully, the order was quickly restored and the game resumed without further further incident. Next is, a pair of rooks walk past a golf ball on the 9th hole during the first round of the British Open Golf Championship on the Old Course in St Andrews, Scotland. On a calm day at the Old Course in St Andrews, two rocks made their way across the 9th hole. As they stroll past the golf ball, they take a moment to consider the game being played below them. They watch as the golfer lines up his shot, then swings his club with all his might. The ball sails through the air, eventually resting on the green. The rooks exchange a look, then continue on their way. In a game that is often defined by waiting and patience, it's nice to see that even the birds enjoy themselves. After all, there's no rush when you're out on the links. Next is, Sweden's Joel Sjöholm gestures towards a family of swans during the final of the International Golf Open in Polheim near Cologne. On a sunny Sunday morning, Joe Sjöholm arrived at the Polheim Golf Club for the final round of the International Golf Open. As he made his way to the first tee, he paused to watch a family of swans swimming in the nearby lake. It was a peaceful scene, and for a moment, all thoughts of the tournament vanished from Sjöholm's mind. However, he quickly shook off the reverie and focused on the task. After all, there was more than just the trophy at stake. There was also enough money to pay off his debts finally. With that in mind, Sjöholm stepped up to the tee and hit a perfect drive down the fairway. It was the start of a great day for the young Swedish golfer, who went on to win the tournament by 3 strokes. In victory, he dedicated his win to the family of swans that had inspired him on that fateful Sunday morning. Next, Serbus Troicki watches a bird fly away after it landed on the court during his first-round match against Spain's Muñoz de la Nava at the Australian Open tennis tournament at Melbourne Park, Australia. As any tennis fan know, the Australian Open is one of the biggest events on the tennis calendar. Every year, the best players in the world descend on Melbourne to battle it out for the coveted title. This year's tournament was no different, and some great matches were played over the 2 weeks. One of the most memorable moments came during the first-round match between Serbia's Troicki and Spain's Muñoz de la Nava. In the middle of the match, a bird landed on the court, and Troicki took the opportunity to watch it for a moment. The bird then flew away, much to Troicki's amusement. It was a lighthearted moment in an otherwise intense match, and it was great to see Troicki enjoying himself on the court. And lastly, the pack of riders cycling during the 17th stage of the Tour de France from Pau to Tourmalet Pass. Meanwhile, 5 sheep were seen by the roadside and could be a real interference during the fast-paced race. The pack of riders cycles during the 17th stage of the Tour de France. Meanwhile, 5 sheep were seen by the roadside and could be a real interference during the fast-paced race. The pack was determined not to let the animals ruin their chance at winning and fought their way through, keeping their eyes on the prize. They knew that if they let the sheep interfere, it could cost them the entire race. In the end, they all crossed the finish line and won. The sheep had caused a bit of a stir, but in the end, they didn't stand a chance against the determined cyclists. While the animals in these stories didn't necessarily cause any trouble, they provided lighthearted relief during some intense moments. In a world that is often full of stress and pressure, it's nice to see that even the birds are enjoying themselves. After all, there's no rush when you're out on the links or playing tennis at Melbourne Park. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And don't forget to leave a comment below letting us know what you think. We love hearing from you.